The much-awaited Federal Executive Council is expected to be constituted this morning, with a major focus to be on revamping the economy and providing adequate security for Nigerians. For almost 3 months, Nigerians have been expecting to see those who will drive the agenda and policies of President Bola Tinubu. Nigerians believe that with the setting up of the new cabinet, a new vista of hope would have been unveiled, but that will depend on the capacity and the antecedent of the persons who made the ministerial list. With the establishment of new ministries and the seeming duplication of work, as well as the misplaced portfolios assigned to the ministers designate, can this renewed hope, as championed by the president, be realized? Well, that will be the focus of today's edition of the program, The Platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. My name is Ginika. Also dropped that President Bola Tinubu has approved the reassignment of portfolios to some of the ministers designate. This was contained in a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale. According to the statement, Abubakar Momo was redeployed from the Ministry of Youth and to the Ministry of Niger Delta Development, while Adegboyega Oyetola was redeployed as the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy. That's from the formerly Minister of Transportation. Ajuri, however, noted that the Ministry of Youth will be reassigned to a minister designate soon. So that particular ministry is vacant. Other intending cabinet members include Bumi Tunji Ojo and Honorable Saidu Alkali, who were redeployed as the Minister of Interior and Minister of Transportation, respectively. There is a new development as the presidential spokesperson disclosed that both ministers of state in the oil and gas sector have been domiciled in the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources. On this note, he stated that Senator Henikin Lokpobri has been reassigned the portfolio. Okay, he has been assigned the portfolio of Minister of State Oil, that is in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, while Ekperipe Ekpo was named the Minister of State Gas, still in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Confusing? Well, we'll find out when my guest, who is already in the studio, Samson Eze. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the program this morning.
I thought you wanted to ring the bell for me, but it's okay.
I wanted to do that, but my hand refused to move. I wonder what the problem is.
It's a very bad sign. Good morning to you, Ginika.
All right. Well, a few minutes from now, we understand that that particular event will be taking place at the presidential villa Aso Rock in Abuja, where the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces will administer the oath of office, to the 45 ministers designate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. After today, they will become full-fledged ministers, and will now see the government in full force doing whatever they have promised Nigerians. But let us start with the size of the federal cabinet to be constituted today, Samson. 45 ministers designate. Do you think that is too much for a government that should be reducing cost of governance?
I think it is. I think it is because I think Buhari had 45, 46, then Tinubu went for 48, but 3 failed by the wayside. 3 of them could not scale through the screening process. More like the promotion exam, they failed.
They couldn't scale through the fence.
They could scale through, and they had to be dropped. I thought there were going to be some replacement from especially Kaduna State and a couple of other places. But that, by the way, you have 45 of them, and you look at the ministries again, it looks clumsy. It looks more like duplication.
Yeah.
You have Ministry of Petroleum Resources. It used to be one, with a senior minister and then a minister of state. And now you have the Ministry of Petroleum Resources broken into two, with two different ministers.
Now, talking about, sorry, before you go on, talking about that Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the last time we had a minister there, substantive minister, was during Jonathan's era, where Diezani Alison Madike was actually the Minister for Petroleum Resources. The president did not interfere. He actually handed that particular ministry over to a substantive minister. I don't think they didn't even have a junior minister in that ministry. It was strictly Minister for Petroleum Resources, handled by Diezani Alison Madike. During Obasanjo's time, Samson, there was nothing like Minister for Petroleum Resources. We had Special Advisor on Petroleum Resources. That was Riwanu Lukman at the time.
And NNPC was very powerful.
Very powerful. You know, and remember, they were reporting directly.
Fushaw, Kukpolokun, I remember. NNPC was very powerful. Okay, right now, you remember when Buhari came to power, there was this high level of militancy in the Niger Delta. The militants were blowing up everything they could find in the Niger Delta. And I think the man wanted to supervise that ministry personally. Some persons saw it as a way of taking responsibility, though some lawyers argued that the president is already the president, he already has a job, and he cannot be a minister. So much of legal issues to that. But he took that job. You're looking at it from two different sides. You, the president, taking full responsibility of our national assets and making sure that Nigeria's oil counted when it mattered most. But he did a very bad job as far as I am concerned, because a lot of things went wrong and you couldn't query the president the much that you could have queried a minister. So it was more of a problem than a solution. And now we go again. At the earliest moment of the release of this list, you remember it was just Heineken Lokbobiri, the Bayelsa man, that was listed. And we raised alarm again. Are we going to have a repeat of what Buhari did? And the president probably, I want to believe that he reads, he listens to what is happening on the street, and then he had to split it now. And you have Ministry of Petroleum Resources, you have oil and gas differently, manned by different ministers. And I'm looking at where to cut the line. I mean, you should have gone on and say Minister of Petroleum Resources, Senior Minister and Minister of State, than this kind of seeming confusion that he has created at the moment. I want to see how it ends, but I just hope that there won't be too much confusion that would affect the sector, because we are heading to a point of exercising full deregulation of the sector. Subsidy, it's no more. There's so many issues. It's like that ministry from day one looks like the hub, looks like the epicenter of this administration.
Okay, now I want us to look at, still on that Ministry of Petroleum Resources, let's do a kind of comparison. When we had a substantive minister without the president, interfering, and when we had the president to be in charge of that ministry, what was it like? If you remember, you just mentioned during Obasanjo. Obasanjo appeared to be the Minister for Petroleum Resources because we never had. What we had was a special advisor on petroleum resources. But how did NNPC fare during that time? And compare it to what Jonathan had when he handed over that particular ministry to a substantive minister under the leadership of Diezani.
Obasanjo probably had his way because of who he is, and at that time there was no attention, not much attention to that sector. Okay. But he had a total control of that sector. NNPC was responsible and responsive to the needs of the federal government. But under Jonathan, you remember again, I think one of the things that scared Buhari was the way that ministry was run under Diezani Alison Madike. The woman became an assistant.
Stupendously rich.
Not just that, an assistant president. She was so powerful in the cabinet. I mean, words had it that most of the time she could stroll into the cabinet and walk out anytime she wants. She was very, very powerful. And you look at the resources within her disposal. And if you look at NNPC at that period, do you remember the former emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi?
Yeah.
It was that NNPC era that kicked him out of office, Ginika, because it was within that period that Sanusi revealed that NNPC is corrupt. And then that NNPC had trillions of naira to remit to the federal coffers that they were not doing. I think that was the beginning of the controversies that angered the PDP-led government, and Sanusi was kicked out of government. And then Buhari's era came in. With him being the minister, nothing actually changed, because we still had Timi Preseva run that ministry. And what we had was gross inefficiency. At the point, NNPC was not remitting anything again to the federal coffer. The issue of oil theft went so high under Buhari's administration, even when he was the minister of petroleum resources. So many things happened. But you equally need to distinguish the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and NNPC. They are not one entity.
But I think that ministry should be the parent body, parent ministry to
Yes.
NNPC.
Yes.
But I don't think NNPC reports directly to the minister.
To
I
the
think
president.
They report to the president. Okay. Now, I want us to look at the duplication of ministries that you talked about. Now we have Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. I don't know what that means.
It's
because
semantics.
we already have
It's semantics.
Minister of or Ministry of Water Resources.
Yes.
I expect that should have taken care of marine resources and blue. What is blue economy to start with?
An economy that is blue, or Bala blue, or
Okay,
some sort of different blue in the villa. That's on the. But the marine economy has to do with issues related to the oceans, and probably the contributions and improvement, preservation of environmental sustainability of the ocean. And you have Ministry of Environment as well. So it has to do with the marine issues. And you're asking yourself, Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, what's this? Just semantics. It's the same thing to a layman.
Yeah, it should be the same thing. That should be the normal thing. You know?
But you're looking at it from a global perspective. The blue economy is a big one. You're looking at issues related to the oceans, the aquatic life, the environmental issues connected, even the shipping area of the economy too. So for global outlook, it looks like a good one. But down here, we already have the Ministry of Marine Resources and all that. We don't need this.
Okay, because Adegboyega Oyetola, former governor of Osun State, was initially
Ministry
for
of Transport.
And I expected that probably the president would have said, would have created a kind of Ministry of Water Transportation.
Yeah.
Probably that would have made some sense, you know, instead of having marine, you know, and having transport on the other side. And you keep wondering. You remember that during Rotimi and Ichi, it was Ministry of Water.
Maritime resources too, and all that. So we're saying here that in all, these duplications are not necessary.
Probably it's a kind of a way to accommodate some political interests, those that actually help the president to win election. Otherwise, why would you be creating Ministry of Water Resources and you're having marine and blue economy?
But even at 45 names that were initially released, there was nothing left on the table. Everything had been shared, and they had gone home with it. So you come back now and redivide. So it doesn't make a sense to me when you consider that there will be conflict of interest, and the moment you have a minister for a particular ministry, whether newly created, it will come with all the paraphernalia of office. You need to have a permanent secretary, you need to have directors, you need to have other line staff. That is government resources at the point when we should be cutting down on our overheads to meet up with challenging needs of the economy. I think we're spending so much on overhead here.
Okay, so Thompson, let's now look at the agenda of the president. During his campaign, he talked about renewed hope, and this renewed hope has 7 agenda, or rather 8-point agenda. That reminds me of late President Musa Yar'Adua. His own was 9 points?
7 points.
Okay, 7-point agenda. Now, the President Bola Tinubu has 8-point agenda, where you have security, economy, agriculture, power, oil and gas, transport, and education. Looking at the portfolio, Samson, assigned to the ministers designate, do you see him achieving this particular agenda? He has promised Nigeria that basically he's going to focus on economy and security. Look at the Minister for Defense. That's a former governor of Jigawa State, Badaru. And people are asking, does he have the security background to provide solutions? I don't think we had much security issues in Jigawa State. So why hand over that particular ministry to somebody, first of all, a civilian who has never had any military experience, and then again, somebody who has not really had experience as regards to how to manage insecurity, especially when he was the governor?
So it's not just about the chairman or the minister for defense. I think in terms of security, he has done something unusual, something that we had maybe during the days of Ibrahim Babangida, IBB era of the military days, when you have a non-military officer become the chief security advisor to the president. I'm talking about El-Rufai. I think the last time we had someone who is not from the military was during IBB days. But here we are again. You want to tackle security. I think this was a wrong foot, if you ask me, from all indications. There were too much of the former governors in that cabinet. And most of them have absolutely nothing to offer. Nothing to offer. They should be resting. After a long 8 years, I think they should be resting. Some of them who's been out of governance, out of the corridors of power for a very long time. The idea of compensating those who contributed to the mandate that they all stand today is not the right way to go. So you needed to make a big statement with who becomes your minister, because that's the political head of the sector. Do you understand? The political head of the security sector should be like the Minister of Defense, and probably you go to the other security chiefs who would definitely report to the minister, and you have the special advisor to the president on security and the chief advisor. So it starts with those that you assemble to work with you. So in this instance, I want to believe that the president is not thinking that insecurity will just go away because he has assumed office. No, the bad guys are still there. Just a few days ago, we had that bad incident in Niger State. It was a very bad incident where about 36 military officers were ambushed, and we did not hear a report of probably the firepower that killed some of the insurgents or the terrorists. All we heard was, the least we got was that of the military casualty. That's Nigeria's resources being debased, being taken down like that. So you should have looked within. I don't support the appointment of Badaru. Just like other commentators have said, it's not proper. Not like he must be a military officer. There is no law that says such must be. But at least you should have someone who has a security background. I mean, he would understand when the security chiefs are complaining of certain kinds of support. He should understand. And when they are in the room and they speak their technical language, can he decode? Even as a governor, being a chief executive officer of your state and the chief security officer of your state,
that does not command any truth.
No, but then they are faced with security issues. But from an executive position, you operate differently than when you are faced with technical issues. I think he needed someone that would command the respect of the service chiefs, an ex-military officer, an ex-police officer, or an ex-intelligence officer who would understand the language of the craft.
Okay, let's take a breather now. It's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion, and we are looking at the Federal Executive Council that will be reconstituted this morning by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu. We're doing that shortly, but we've been looking at those things that should be playing out, before, during, and after this particular fake Federal Executive Council must have been set up. We'll look at what are they going to bring to the table, and where are we coming from? We are coming from a bad economy, a situation where the economy has been in a very bad shape. Who is going to bail the cards? We'll look at all that when we come back. Still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. All right, welcome back to the program. Still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. My name is Ginika Olwa. Samson is my guest this morning. Welcome back to the program, Samson.
Thank you, sir.
Now let's look at the Minister Designate for Ministry of Information. And we have Muhammad Idris. Yes. Muhammad Idris. I think he is an accomplished media entrepreneur, publisher, and chairman and chief executive officer of Blueprint newspaper. Muhammad Idris was also, is included in the ministerial list which President Bola Tinubu actually submitted to the Senate. But I think he's well suited for this particular job. We were expecting that Dele Alake was going to have his own shot at the Ministry of Information, but no. We have somebody here, Muhammad Idris. Samson.
Yes, everybody expected that Dele Alake, having been moved from that position where he handled the initial spokesman role for the president, should have been the minister in charge of that ministry. But it didn't happen. I don't know what happened. He's been moved to Ministry of, I think, Solid Minerals.
Solid Minerals and Mine Development.
Mines Development. So you go back again. Dele Alake was the Commissioner for Information and Strategy to Bola Tinubu when he was governor in Lagos. Yeah. And even after he left office, he was deeply involved in some of the media concerns, private media concerns of the president. And he went on. During the campaigns, he was quite strategic. He's quite a strategic communicator, but at this point, the president came up with another name. Ajuri replaced him. Ajuri Ngalale replaced him, and the Minister for Information now, former publisher of Blueprint. I don't know whether he's still in that position, but
of course he has to resign.
He's a media entrepreneur coming from private sector. I think he will be in our own interest. Yes. He will not be fighting Twitter. He will not be fighting Facebook. He will not be fighting all those social media. Yeah. I think he would understand industry reality. Exactly. But not to say that Dele Alake wouldn't have done a bad job. I look at it again. Do you remember when Umaru Yar'Adua moved Dora Akinyele to become the Minister for Information from NAFDAC? I mean, from nowhere. Labaran Maku, if you remember, and a whole lot of others. And the last person was your friend Lai Mohammed, and he equally did his part. Yeah. But so much of controversies that we saw within that era. But the man who is in that position now is well suited, and for Dele Alake, I think he might deliver. He might show his mettle where he is now. But one thing I've come to understand here is, it appears like the president has personal relationship with almost all the people that were nominated, even those that were not best suited for the jobs they were given, because there are quite a number of them.
Okay, now, an aspect I would like us to look at is the issue of that if Ministry of Information has national orientation attached to it. Yes. I think that's where the job is required more.
You have the national orientation, you have all the parastatals in that ministry, the NTAs, the NAN, Radio Nigeria.
Then you have
A lot of
NOA as
them.
an agency.
Yes.
And for some time now, we've not heard much from that agency. They are supposed to be shouldering the responsibility of making sure that the way Nigerian think, the way we talk about this country, and the way we even, project the image of the country is well, articulated. But ever since the time of Idi Farouk, if you remember, he was the NOA chairman, I think under President Obasanjo at the time, that was the only time we heard, about National Orientation Agency. I think this incoming Minister for Information and National Orientation should focus more on that area to give Nigeria the image of this country is so bad. It has been battered. Seriously. A National Orientation Agency has what it takes to repackage it.
We equally had a vibrant National Orientation Agency with international drive. Then you remember Frank Nweke Jr.'s era.
Yeah.
And then Dora Akunyili came. Dora fought the Niger spirit. I'm trying to remember that slogan, but it was very, very audacious. It was very strong.
Dora said we should stop calling Nigeria Niger, if you remember.
Yes, but there was this intentional drive to equally launder Nigeria's image abroad, not forgetting that what actually makes Nigeria's image look very bad abroad comes from here. So you have to, first of all, gain the confidence of the people. The people have to trust their government. When things are going wrong and people go all out to write on social media, paint Nigeria black, without even giving the government the right of reply, it's because they have lost interest. They have lost trust. And the trust quotient, the trust deficiency within our public governance system is so low. So you have to start addressing so many issues here. Firstly, look at our electoral process. Can the people completely decide, or can they validate the leadership that they have? If they have a leadership that comes from the place of an election that is credible, definitely they would support. But not to say that the person who becomes the president would have everybody's vote. It is not possible. And you're looking at the spirit of patriotism. I saw one clip. Someone asked, "Can you die for Nigeria?" And someone responded that even your children will not forgive you. Those who died for Nigeria, where are they today? The spirit of patriotism is gone because our leaders are shortchanging us on a daily basis. A politician tells you that it's 10:40 a.m. Guinica, and you would want to check your timepiece to be very sure that it's actually what it is.
Yeah.
Because they have so lied to us. They have so taken us for a ride. So you have to start by addressing some critical issues that affect public governance, win the trust of the people locally, and improve on entrepreneurial issues, because you won't have a system where Nigerians will go abroad to be pushing drugs and all that, and you think that the international community will look at you like a country that is responsible. No. Some of those things that we do over there that paint us in a very bad light, we have to stop it, and you have to encourage local entrepreneurship. Look at what is happening in the internet space. Nigerian youths have found their own economy on the internet.
And somebody will come up tomorrow and say you're banning maybe Twitter,
and instead of
Facebook,
and that's why we needed a minister who equally understands the industry reality. And I'm beginning to see a sense in the appointment of the man from Blueprint. He understands the industry reality, the trends, global trends, not because you're seeing young Nigerians making millions, billions from the internet. You say, okay, let's put serious tax on social media apps and make sure that they do not monetize their platforms in Nigeria. And that's what the federal government has done. If you go back to the root of why some of the social media apps are not allowing Nigerians to make gains from the content they are pushing, it's out of government serious efforts to stifle the business for them. You remember Lai Mohammed?
Yeah.
The EndSARS the Twitter issue.
Probably because of the
Facebook.
president we had at the time. You know, he wasn't really tolerant.
I just hope that
of,
will change, because
okay.
nothing has really changed. It's still the same party, the same ideology, the same people coming to power. So this town hall looks like the same thing
Are you saying it's not different
from the
Now-
regular blues.
All right, let's talk about Ministry of Works and the man that's supposed to take charge of that particular ministry. You're talking about the former governor of Ebonyi State. That's where Samson is from, Ebonyi State, where you have Abakaliki as its capital. That's Governor Dave Umahi, a former. Is he now a former minister, former senator?
Yes. By the time
He's sworn in.
he takes the oath today, officially,
He ceases to be.
he ceases to be
lawmaker.
a lawmaker.
Okay. Now he's going to be in charge of the Ministry of Works. Okay. And many people say, yes, he deserves it.
Yeah, deserving.
He gave your face, is it your face now? Okay, your state a facelift.
Yeah, deserving. Dave Umahi, I may not be an apostle of my own devotion, but
He
in
did
terms
well.
in terms of infrastructural development, he understands.
And he's also an engineer.
He's an engineer, not just an engineer like you see on paper. No,
He goes to work.
he goes to work. How did he even find himself in government? He was a contractor
Okay.
before he became the PDP chairman of that state, got appointed, became the deputy governor, later on a governor. And when he was asked one time how he was able to do some of the things he did, he told the whole world that some of his projects he supervises directly. I'm a living witness to that.
Okay.
And he goes with his measuring tape. He will tell you, peel it. He say, peel this place. He puts his tape and he will tell you, no, the quantity, what you have here does not match with the bill of quantity that you laid out and all that.
So he's not a political engineer.
He's not a political engineer. And then you know what actually worked for him is that because he understands how this construction thing goes. He said that a road that he used ₦1 billion to construct, his colleagues in other states could use like 3 billion. And in his time, he made the Ministry of Works very strong and reliable. The Ministry of Works can undertake, the Ministry of Works in Ebonyi State can undertake many kilometers of road construction and finish it with direct labor. The ministry became
How solid were those projects?
very solid, very solid. Most of the rural road, most of the urban roads in the capital city were done through direct labor from the Ministry of Work, and the ministry became one of the biggest employers of labor within that period. So I'm hoping that he will duplicate that. Firstly, he needs to get to work, go and check what is happening at the second Niger Bridge. I heard that our brothers from O2,
They are cashing out.
cashing out on
It's very bad.
on the metals there.
And I
And
think
it's
that-
very, very bad.
That's where we need also the services of the National Orientation Agency.
And the
that particular project is meant to be used by you.
If the governor of Anambra State needs to mobilize an entire battalion to that place, safeguard that facility, it costs government a whole lot of money. And it's a national asset. It's not about Buhari. It is not about Tinubu.
I
It's
don't
not
know
about
if you've driven past that area. It's
the
very
second Niger
fantastic.
Bridge.
Oh, God.
I've not used it lately.
I have.
Okay.
Very good. Very, very good.
So if you look around, we could not get the Enugu-Onitsha expressway done. We couldn't get some of those major express roads done. And the Enugu airport, Akanibiam airport in Enugu, didn't get such a facelift. So the only thing that we can solidly say we benefited from the past administration is the second Niger Bridge. And they're allowing Omo to disorganize things for us. No. Please, Soludo, a professor, look into it.
Find a solution.
Find a solution.
At
You have the minister. You have the FCT minister. Nyesom Wike.
Yes.
I think it's a good one. Forget about it. Now we're talking about Simon Lalong.
All right, 08081826949 or 08116052949. Those are the numbers to get through to us. And let's look at the issues we are talking about. That's the federal cabinet that will be reconstituted this morning by President Bola Tinubu Samson.
You know, we didn't talk about the woman from Abia State.
That is a minister designate for states,
Yes.
for labor and employment.
There's something you called it on Saturday morning.
Don't worry, just go ahead and talk about her briefly.
I think that's not fair. That's not fair, given how far she's come in politics and all her credentials. I thought she would have gotten something better. But you look at it again, from Southeast, I think it's only a boy that got
the Minister
something
for
substantial.
Trade and Investment is also from
Southeast. That is, I think, Imo or Anambra. Then you have Minister for Science and Technology. It always
the
comes
same
to
one
in Enugu State.
Your brother.
So it comes to the Southeast again. And for Onyejocha, I thought she would have gotten something better than that. That was the position that Keyamo handled, and after everything, the man said it's an illegality. It's a very suspicious contraption that shouldn't be, because I think Chris Ngige didn't allow him do much there. So I just hope that our sister Onyejocha would shape up and then face all the issues that NLC, ASU, and all their allied brothers from the other Gbasgbos kingdom would bring to bear.
Okay, call us now 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my great people in the studio.
Good morning, welcome.
The great analyst. I salute you, sir.
Thank you. What's your name?
This is Mr. Eze Enikalo, a voice from Abion Hotel, in a hotel government area, a home or hospitality.
Okay, go ahead.
Concerning the appointment, from my own view, the best appointment there is that of Umahi. I really commend Tinubu, because appointment of Umahi as the Minister of Works, and as a Minister for Works, is a round peg in a round hole. Umahi, counting on what Umahi did at Ebonyi State, his legacy in Ebonyi State, and I believe with that same spirit, with that same zeal, for him to occupy such office, he will probably do more.
Okay.
He will probably do better. That's why even when Umahi was indicated interest to contest for president, I was in support. So since Umahi can transform Ebonyi State to that extent, if Umahi is being given an opportunity to serve this country, he is going to do wonder. It's quite unfortunate that he couldn't make it. But for him to emerge as a minister for work, they welcome the government.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I believe with his own wisdom and with his own capacity and wisdom and experience, based on what he has done and legacy is left at Ebonyi State, he is going to do far more better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, good morning.
Beautiful morning. This morning, Chief Correspondent, Mr. Geneka and Mr. Samson.
Thank you.
God bless this morning. Don't get a guy for you. This morning, I'm calling from the road.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. God bless. There's something you're asking Mr. Samson. You're asking him whether he's going to be a kind of different type of idea, type of maybe pattern of getting things being done right. I think irrespective of the height or the level of the profession of the player, that player will still come down to work according to the formation of the coach.
Hello?
Know what to do. Hello?
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, some of them know what to do, but in the sense that they want to do that, because of the people who are coaching them, people that are giving them guidelines, they will still follow it. That's why we are afraid of this appointment of people. Going to them for my head.
Okay, I think you've exhausted your time. Probably call us back. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Geneka and Mr. Samson.
Good morning, welcome.
Yeah, this is James Bezin from Ibodo.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, and that's Umahi appointment. It's a welcome development because I wish we can change state like other states. We come to Ebonyi state, and then state we come to other state. And the minister they give to us from Buhari to this Gabon, the minister they give to other state, it doesn't mean anything. Look at Uche Oga, Minister of Steel. Nothing to do with that kind of minister. Now, Giru Kenyatta don't come in own. No, nothing. I don't know whether we are going to some other state to the hands of God. Because nothing good is coming to other state. Let God help us now. Let something good come to other state. So thank you for lesson week. I don't know.
Okay,
PDP
thank
to look after lesson week. Look for player for him. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ginika.
Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Chijoke from Bente Road.
Okay.
Well, I want to say that it's a very good development for us to have Mahe as a Minister for Works. On the issue of Nkiru Onyecha, he has been there for Abia North and Isukwato and Umundochi right from time. So I believe she knows how to maneuver and presidency and get what we want. I believe, by God's grace, with his level of intelligence, she will do well.
All right.
But at the end, I want to say that God has blessed us with a good governor, because these are what we have been praying for. So let's believe that Abians,
Thank you.
Abians will benefit and the things will change in Abia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. To our Facebook page, this one is coming from Prince Shaka MK. Say good morning. The federal cabinet has to work optimally at discharging their duties appropriately, because this country burden lies at their arms to deliver. Thank you so much. Ezeka Elvis said, good morning. Watching live from Umuahia State Capital, the agenda before the new Executive Council should be properly reviewed for the benefit of all citizens. It shouldn't be business as usual, because most Nigerians are highly disappointed with those piloting the affairs of the country. Things should be done differently this time around. Thank you so much, Ezeka Elvis. Chinedu Mukafo said, the success and failure of this administration depends heavily on the performance from these ministers. These ministers must be compelled to perform with great evidence to reflect on the living standard of Nigerians. Let it not be business as usual. Nigerians are already suffering severe economic hardship as a result of some anti-people's policies. Please, there should be positive change. Thank you so much. Something we need to leave the studio now, but let me quickly read one or two SMS from Kelechi Oba in Ikwan. I said, swearing in of 45 ministers by a president is a welcome development. A big congratulations to all the Southeast ministers designate. But my humble question is, why would Mr. President appoint a senator to be a minister? For me, I think they should tender their resignation as a senator and focus on their new appointment. Of course, they are going to do that right away. This was said, Noron Chik, I said, as the ministers are being sworn in today, they should hit the ground running for good governance to avoid excuse or failure at the end. Thank you so much, Chika. Well, Samson.
So why should Umahi be appointed the minister? I think that's the question on everybody's lips.
Yeah.
But I view it from different perspective. Probably he had a serious discussion with the president. I mean, not just a minister. It's a very serious one that has to do with his area of interest. He loves construction. If you see Dave Umahi's work, you can read, you can tell that he's the one. And I don't know what they promised him, but if you remember the struggle for that senatorial position,
Yeah. Somebody will have to take it. So there will be a by-election.
There will be a by-election.
For which senatorial district does he represent?
Ebonyi South Senatorial District. And so they are preparing to do that election together with that of Surulere.
I just hope it doesn't cause some kind of rift between him and the governor, because the governor will want to take charge now.
Well, it's still early days. The governor wouldn't want to rock boat for himself.
Right.
And now that he has a federal might kind of support from the villa, so you have to tread carefully.
Okay, today is Vicky Bo's birthday. Look at him.
Who is Vicky? What?
Victor.
Victor Ibe
The
is
guy that arranges our adverts here.
No, he's the guy who hawks our birthday card.
Vicky Bo, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Victor.
That's all over it.
Oh, sure. He's a great guy, actually.
All right.
And I love him for the extra measures he puts to the work he does here. Even when you're not here, Victor is always here.
Yes. Thank you. Happy birthday, Victor. Thank you. To all of you who called in, thank you so much. May God bless you. The show returns on Wednesday at 10 a.m. My name is Ginika Olwa. Thank you so much, Samson Eze, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Stephanie, thank you. All of you, thank you. Stanko and the guy, Stanko and Charles, the guys behind the camera. We appreciate you. Let's make Nigeria great, and I will see you again. Good morning.